Welcome to another episode of TD++, a series where we help you get the most mileage out of just a single TD and get your foot into the set on a budget. I'm Chairman, and along with Jizukats, we'll be tackling the two halves of the BanG franchise's latest bands, MyGO and Ave Mujica. BanG is a long-running Bushiroad project that is seeing a big rise in popularity worldwide with these two new bands and their respective anime, which was highly praised and spawned countless internet memes, mostly about Haruhikage. We'll be looking at both MyGO and Ave Mujica trial decks, highlighting the noteworthy cards in each product, and giving a simple upgrade guide on how to improve each deck with low rarity cards from the booster set. Let's get started! I'll be covering the MyGO trial deck, which released alongside the Countdown Collection premium boosters a while back. While we did a box opening of the product back then, we didn't do a TD++ video since there was no other MyGO cards at the time. The MyGO trial deck features two climax combos that are designed to work together in the same deck. Hesitating Without Hesitation, Anon Chihaya is the level 1 combo that combos on a door. When the climax is placed and Anon is in the front row, you can choose either the waiting room or the deck, and then search that zone that you chose for either Hesitating Without Hesitation, Tomori Takamatsu, or in the Sound of Moving Forward, Tomori Takamatsu. Hesitating Without Hesitation Tomori is the level 3 climax combo, which heals when played from hand, and then on attack with the gate climax in play, you can either choose to salvage a character from the waiting room and then send a music character from your waiting room to the stock, or you can deal 1 damage. Sound of Moving Forward Tomori can be used to play the level 3 Tomori from your hand at level 2 by using her first ability, allowing you to access Tomori's powerful advantage combo earlier. The shape of the deck is fairly self-explanatory. Use the Anon combo to get both the level 2 and level 3 Tomori to hand, use the level 2 Tomori to get the level 3 Tomori on the board, and then keep the Tomori on the board as long as possible. The trial deck offers 2 important ways to keep Tomori on the board. Live with our voice, Anon Chihaya is a support character that gives characters in front of her plus 500 power per level, which will boost Tomori's power to 11,500. And the Sound of Moving Forward Takishina is a counter that can be used to increase Tomori's power during the counter step of an opponent's attack. The benefit of the Taki counter is that Tomori's climax combo can grab it from the waiting room, ensuring that you'll have it ready for your opponent's next turn. The last card I want to talk about from the trial deck specifically is Hesitating Without Hesitation Rana Kaname. This card is a pivotal part of the deck's level 0 game plan, being able to pay 1 stock and send 1 music character from waiting room to clock in order to get back any music character from the waiting room. This can include herself, since she'll be in the waiting room when she activates her effect, ensuring that you'll always have attackers at level 0 and selectivity for anything afterwards. We're not going to be adding too much to the deck at levels 1, 2, or 3, since the deck already has a well-defined strategy at this stage of the game. One optional change can be switching out one of the trial deck Taki counters to the booster set Hitoshizuku Takishina, which trades 500 power on the backup for the ability to shuffle your waiting room back into the deck for a 2 stock. This is a very useful counter to shuffle climaxes back into the deck and avoid decking out and taking refresh resolution damage. Apart from this though, there's no other level 1 or higher card. In fact, all of the upgrades will be at level 0, starting with Together Soyo Nagasaki. Similar to the Rana we talked about earlier, this card can spend 1 stock and take 1 damage, effectively, in order to search the deck for a level 1 or lower character and add it to your hand. Between Rana and Soyo, this deck will have no issues getting advantage at level 0 and finding the Anon climax combo for level 1. Sisterly figure Soyo Nagasaki can also help search the deck for characters, but she is here also to trigger twice during her attack. This offers an increased chance of triggering a climax and getting to salvage either a character or a climax depending on what you triggered. After Soyo attacks, she sends the top card of the stock to the waiting room, so if she triggers a climax on the second trigger, it will automatically get paid out of the stock, which is great. If she triggers a climax on the first attack, she can still then use her second ability to pay the climax out for a character search. Adding melody to lyrics, Takishina can exchange a climax from your hand with a climax from the waiting room, which is useful for getting the right climaxes at the right time. And finally, Lone Wolf Takishina has 2 filter abilities, one that searches the deck for a character with a similar cost to the Soyo, and one that grabs a character from the waiting room by discarding a climax. All of these cards may seem like overkill in terms of selectivity, but unfortunately, the good MyGO Brainstorm is a double rare Soyo So the budget list here is stuck using the Taki Draw Brainstorm from the trial deck. While Draw Brainstorms are quite good, they require a lot of selective utility from other cards in order to function well. Mulligans in this deck will prioritize seeing some number of your level 0 Rana and Soil advantage generating cards, as well as a level 1 Anon and her Climax. Level red for the level 1 Anon combo, and then blue for the level 2 and 3 Tomori combo. This deck does have some blue cards from the trial deck at level 1, so it's fine to level blue first, as long as you can ensure you have red in the clock when you need it. Last thing to note about this deck is deck speed. Since your Climax combos don't actually mill through your deck, you'll have to rely on your Draw Brainstorms as well as the event Silhouette Dance in order to get through your deck and make sure you're refreshing with as many Climaxes every deck as possible. This deck doesn't upgrade into the meta MyGO list because that list revolves around the Resonate mechanic and the level 3 double rare Tomori. However, this deck is not a bad place to start for both new players as well as first time mainstream players, so give it a shot if you like the band MyGO. Now I'll hand it off to Randall to talk about the rival group, Ave Mujica.
The Ave Mujica trial deck, just like the MyGO trial deck and many other modern TDs, comes with 2 Climax combos. The level 1 Mortis, which searches on reverse and also gives the character a 2k power boost for the turn, and the level 3 Dolores, which can deal 1 burn damage and clock kick an opposing character on reverse. Ordinarily, reversing a battle opponent for a finisher ability can be a pretty big hassle, since the opponent can simply crash their board to avoid having anything for you to reverse. However, with Dolores' on-play ability, she can heal as well as pay an extra stock to summon a character to the opponent's stage, which you can then reverse to activate her ability. However, if the opponent does have characters on board to reverse, then we will want to have a character that can boost our power high enough to avoid losing to a counter. The 2-1 Amorous is the way to go in that regard. She gives all other music characters 2000 power during your turn, and can also rest herself and sack a character on stage to draw 1 card. This can let you clear up board space to make room for new characters, as well as cycle out weak utility cards after using their on-play abilities. It can even be used to activate the on-death abilities of some of the cards in Ave Mujica, one of which we'll be adding to the deck, but we'll come back to that one in a bit. Other trial deck cards we will be keeping are the Dolores Runner, which is a solid turn 1 play, Timoris level 0, which apart from being an assist, also acts as a consistency booster with her search effect, the Climax Swapper Oblivionis, both of our level 2 attackers, and the level 3 Oblivionis. The level 3 has particularly good synergy with the Dolores combo, giving it an additional 1500 power boost if needed to secure a reverse, while also acting as an extra finisher piece herself that can replace one of your copies of Dolores for your finisher turn. Now let's take a look at some of the additions from the booster pack. Alongside the Dolores Runners, we have the level 0 Nyamu and Oblivionis for early game plussing profiles. Nyamu's on-death effect lets you get up to 2 extra cards off the top of the deck, while the Oblivionis can move a character on stage to the safety of your back row. This allows you to reuse attackers for follow-up turns, or use back row utility characters such as Timoris or Brainstorms as attackers when you otherwise wouldn't. Speaking of Brainstorms, we're swapping out the Trial Deck Amorous Brainstorms for the Sakiko Salvage Rares from the booster set, giving us better selectivity. As our final level 0 addition from the booster set, we have the Dolores Rico profile. Ordinarily, this profile is only a 1000 power card, but since this Dolores can only salvage Ave Mujica cards, she gets to be 2000 power instead, while coming with all the usual benefits this profile provides. Costless salvage, discard outlet, and top deck knowledge all in one. And since we're running a mono Ave Mujica deck for our Trial Deck Plus, this comes at no downside. The other additions to the Trial Deck are all going to be level 1 characters. First up, we have Mutsumi, which is a pretty neat card. On play, she can marker the top card of your deck face up, and gain effects based on the color of the markered card, a powerful and flavorful effect that represents her multiple personalities. Next up is the level 1 Uika. You can sack this card manually during your main phase to give a character 2000 power for the turn, and when she is sent from stage to waiting room, by her own effect or otherwise, you can look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck to try to grab a Climax. If you find a Climax and decide to add it to your hand, you discard a card afterwards, and there is no downside if you don't find a Climax or decide not to add one. This is a fantastic profile that gives you free mill when needed and extra Climax access. You can also combo this with the 2-1 Amorous support by sacrificing it for her Draw 1 effect, giving you 4 chances to find Climaxes in those crucial moments, instead of the usual 3. The last 2 cards are one of Tex, the 1-1 Mortis and 1-0 Sakiko. Both of these cards are used against early play characters. Both of them are better suited for more experienced players that can recognize their proper applications against specific matchups. So if you feel like you're not quite at that level yet, feel free to replace these with 2 more copies of the Mutsumi level 1. And that's going to conclude all of our new inclusions. This deck is honestly pretty straightforward. In the early game, you will want to see profiles that will increase your hand size in various ways, either by surviving, getting you new cards to work with, or preserving cards on stage. You should aim to have Sakiko Brainstorm and Timor support as your back row throughout the early game, giving you access to cards in both your waiting room and deck. At level 1, look to play as many Mortis combos as you can get reverses, and use their search combo to get future options. Since her combo is on a gold bar climax, along with the utility of the level 1 Uika, it should be easier than usual to go for multiple turns of combo in a row, so consider using her effect to search additional copies of herself for future turns. The priority level 2 character you will want to see is the Amorous support, which will usually replace the Timoris level 0 in your back row. From there, you can either use the Timoris as an attacker, or just sacrifice her immediately with Amorous's effect to draw a new option and open up a slot on board for a more appropriate attacker. Speaking of, the level 2 Mortis and Timoris are both solid attackers, with Mortis offering Handfix on reverse, and Timoris having the ability to refund her own stock cost, in addition to being a 2-soul attacker. At level 3, your minimum goal should be to have at least 2 Dolores, which is easily achievable and requires only 4 starting stock, assuming your opponent left you 2 characters to reverse. Triple Dolores is still quite cheap at only 6 starting stock, again assuming the opponent left you 3 reverses, and even if the opponent did not leave you a full front row to kill, paying 1 or 2 extra stock in order to summon cards to reverse onto your opponent's board is not very problematic either. Alternatively, you can add the Oblivionis into the mix with double Dolores plus single Oblivionis requiring 7 starting stock, assuming 2 reverse targets. While the TD++ we've put together is quite solid, it is a vast difference from the optimized build of Ave Mujica, which uses a plethora of double R cards that we try to avoid for our TD++ builds. The same is true for MyGO. As mentioned earlier by Simu, the MyGO cards from the booster set have a resonance package that requires you to play specific profiles, including double Rs. So if you want to see what the optimized version of these decks look like, stay tuned for our upcoming Ave Mujica deck profile later this week, as well as a gameplay video to follow it up that will feature both the optimized Ave Mujica build as well as the optimized MyGO build. Until then, this has been Randall aka ShizuCats and Simu aka Chairman on the Tressa's Collectibles channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!